I'm like, as I am right now, I'm just like desperately leaning on you to to kind of carry me through it.
I'm like, yeah, no, that's awesome. Let's cut back to the camera, and I just see the teleprompter go, whee!
I would love to study our culture, basically. White people, bro.
But that show was just, you and I both got hurt on that show. Maybe different severities, but
yeah, you got hurt way worse because you were actually bleeding.
Nuh-uh.
I know.
What do you mean? Okay, let's break it down. This has always blown my mind that 91.4% of you who currently watch this show are not yet subscribed. So I would ask that you would subscribe to the channel or double check that you're subscribed. In doing so, you'll be a part of this channel's history. Also, it's free, so why not? Thank you, and let's get back to the episode. Hello, and welcome back to the Jordan Whitrock Show. I'm your host, Jordan Whitrock. We got Micah in the back. Woo woo! And today we have a special guest. Someone that you could argue has been my co-host for an extensive period, probably longer than any other co-host I've had. And so, without further ado, let's introduce him to the show, Jon Bye. Let's go!
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Let's get into the reason why you've been a co-host of mine. Obviously, you haven't co-hosted this show.
No.
This is your first appearance.
Yeah.
However, we did do a TV show, where you were my co-host too. And I would argue you probably did more work than I did. 100%.
Well, that's the thing. You just had to show up on the day with like natural charisma and talent and bring it forward. Meanwhile, I had to show up to all those other setup things and film other stuff beforehand.
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. If I had to go to, no, I would have done it, but I would have hated it more maybe. So people who don't know, Honeydew, we've talked about this on the show. We've had directors, producers, all that kind of stuff. John and I were the hosts for the show. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of broke down in responsibilities. So my job as the host or the lead host for the live show was hey, we did all these tasks with these people ahead of time. We're going to watch the footage, do one live in studio. Mm-hmm. And then what we're going to do is you are going to have to just on the spot grade, talk about what they did. Come up with things to talk about how they did it. John's job was to make sure that the videos were entertaining. It was explained you were in there deep, which I kind of want to talk to you about because I haven't done that before.
For sure.
Where you lead. It gave me vibes of American Idol, where you have the judges, right?
Sure.
But then there's the guy in the back who's
Terry
talking.
Crews.
Yeah, Terry Crews, who's talking to all of the people who are about to perform, and you're hyping them up.
Yeah,
but
I'm
then
basically
talking
Terry Crews.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about what you would do back there before people would go on their competitions.
Definitely hit the nail on the head as far as hype, for sure. Basically, the producers, Becca and Veda, they would lay out kind of the rules for the task, and then I would come and present that to the contestant, but you're always holding a little bit back. You're always kind of biting your tongue a little bit about how they might try to conflate the rules in some way and maybe cheat by some opinion, the game and everything, but you kind of want to encourage that. So at the end of the day, no matter what, when somebody is going after the challenge, my job is always just to try and come up with some kind of witty commentary in the meantime.
Which
but
I would argue that's your forte. I would argue
that's your forte.
That's not my forte. No. On the spot, true witty, not comedy, but you know what I'm talking. That I would argue is your forte. I'm Drake is comedy.
Oh yeah,
that guy can tear anyone apart or build
God.
up with comedy that, and I don't have that skill. You have the ability to wide vocabulary, where you can bring any things that you wouldn't have me. Not simple-minded, but I'm more in a box. That makes sense. And
you sure
you have the ability to maybe take an angle that maybe I hadn't thought about because I'm in the box.
We wear different masks,
which worked really well, I think, on the show.
It worked so well because I'm as I am right now. I'm just desperately leaning on you to to kind of carry me through it, and so I think that's your forte, honestly.
Dude, okay. Before I get into that,
yeah.
So when you were back and the contestants were working, was there one challenge that you were oh, this didn't go the way I thought, or this was funny? From a backstage, people who watched the show or me never saw that, so we never saw
the setup and the
something
teardown.
messing up or part of the production that went south, you know.
For sure. Well, I'd say definitely right away with the first episode we did, the producers had kind of they shot a little bit too high. Like I think that they were a little bit too hungry, and they had all these plans for all these challenges they want to do.
Okay.
So there was a couple challenges that we recorded that didn't even make it into the episode ultimately that I don't think you ever saw.
No.
That made me a little bit sad because one of them included like a trivia segment, and I was hammering it up so hard for that trivia segment. That's a shame. But you know what? Maybe we'll find like they'll do like deleted scenes later or something like that.
I don't think so. That footage definitely gone.
Okay,
so that was like the
so I wasn't expecting that to not make it, but it is what it is. And then going forward, they definitely had a much tighter plan for, you know, how long the episode was going to be and how much they could fit in. Definitely, I think the most fun one was when they did the little obstacle course, you remember, for like the Christmas episode? Yeah, and that was one where Becca and Veda and I spent a lot of time off camera before we started filming talking about ways that people could like cheat the system. And it just made me so proud of the contestants when I saw them like do some, you know, something a little bit like outside the box, like you were saying. So yeah, that one was definitely the most fun, I think, the most standout. Yeah.
I was trying to think what was one thing that each contestant did that was different. Like one, instead of throwing the marshmallows or something at like the cups,
kick it over.
They just kicked the cups
which was
over.
totally channeling your energy from the original pilot.
Yeah. And then what was the other? I'm trying to think.
Well, then there came time for the
marshmallows in the cup, right?
Yeah. So you had to figure out how to move the marshmallows basically from one vessel to another vessel without like using like the cups or whatever. And so, it was like, are you going to like, and somebody like put the bowl like at the end of the table basically and just like swept them in there. It's like, that's the move for sure.
I think did someone just go on their stomach through the whole obstacle, like the beginning thing with the tinsel?
No, that's what I wanted people to do. That's what I was doing was like just whoosh, but yeah.
So when I think of the show, you and I being co-hosts on that tiny couch. And
two big guys, one tiny couch.
Yeah, like where my knees are like up to here kind of thing. And anyway.
This is only slightly more comfortable.
Whoa. That is true. The padding is a little thin. But the issue with the couch though was that it was so big.
Yeah.
And so it was like I gotta get rid of that couch.
Yeah.
I just can't have the couch.
And don't get me wrong, I like the vibe.
And it was tan, so like you really could only wear blacks or dark colors to like not blend in or be weird. So, and I had to like de-fur it every single episode. And
have you ever had anybody on with a cat allergy?
No, literally, I've been like, well, they're hyperallergenic. So as long as you're not touching them and then touching you should be good.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Yep. And then I vacuum and sweep.
And you go play a little bit of Jenga and stack everything.
No, I've actually just decided I leave this full time.
No, you don't.
Yep. And then I just go the studio, right? The studio. But then if I watch TV, I just have to lean really far. Okay, but what I was gonna say is, do you have a memory on that show during the live segment of something that you're like, wow, like this is like, how are we gonna get out of here? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, 100%.
Or like maybe you stumbled over a word or we skipped something that you're like, oh, well, we're cooked. And it probably was me that was skipping for sure, but...
And stumbling over words.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's my thing is I stumble over words and I wish...
But your natural charisma like makes it okay.
No, it's like my ability. It's like you've been made fun of for so long, or like people are always constantly like, oh, you messed up there, that you like you eventually like, I don't care because like it's gonna happen again. I need some speech therapist.
100%.
I think I have something like a lisp or something like that. Just like it's
repressed.
It's not like it's like I've taught myself it. It's like the way that I talk, and so I think I need someone to be like, yo, you're doing that again. And then
start
be
calling you out.
What do we
Outside
even do?
your
Like,
head.
what do we like? What do you mean? It's normal.
That sounds like a full-time job.
I know. So I gotta go see someone. You know.
Maybe they got those at SCAD. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, but a memory on the show of us being cooked. Okay.
Yep.
Like, first of all, even when you're like hosting a show and your personality is effectively yourself, you are still like in character to a degree. As far as for me, far as, you know, reading off a teleprompter in that situation, at least. So, like, you know, we both know, like, if you make a mistake, like, in character, best thing you can possibly do is just acknowledge that those characters can make mistakes too and move on. So that didn't really ever make me feel like we're cooked.
Yeah.
But what did make me feel like we're cooked was when we had Logan DuPont on, and he just started talking about that TikTok, and now I'm going to do it. Now I'm going to drag us into the pits of hell from which we're going to be inescapable. Do you remember that?
Wait,
It was like we were he was doing a challenge.
We were on the show and he was
Yes.
talking.
Well, it happened twice because we were on the pre-record segment and he's doing this challenge and he's like, it's the one where it was on the
bags
first
one?
episode. No, where they move the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where he's just
Yeah.
talking to you the whole time.
Yes. And so it was like, oh, cool, extra bonus point or whatever because you held on to this conversation for so long. And then you asked him, I mean, like any good host would, so what were you guys talking about? And then he's just like, so there's this TikToker and basically his name is X and he does Y. And it's funny because when he does Y, and it was just like, you don't need to explain this to the whole campus right now, man.
Yeah. So you just like cringed at the moment, or did it put us behind? Or
Thankfully, I don't think it put us behind because you know when to jump in. Like you can keep track of the clock and stuff.
Try, yeah.
But I was just like, I think I caught myself in my own head, like I'm not paying attention to this story. And I don't know how to comment on it. And I don't know what that says about like everyone at home potentially who is trying to keep track of this story.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you thought the retention rate was going to drop?
Oh, dude.
And
shut
our
up.
four
Yeah.
people that were watching the radio, TV, film, television station just went click.
No shade on Logan DuPont though. I love him.
Mine was. So the issue with the show is like, you can have stuff written out right on a teleprompter.
Yes.
And it's helpful because you can kind of like read, like there's certain things that you want to read because it just sounds better when you just read it off. Also, it allows you to look straight at the camera.
Yes.
And so there's like that cheat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is when you go off script because you're talking about something that obviously we didn't know we were going to talk about at that time, which is totally fine and that's fun and that's what makes the show like relatable or whatever.
Sure.
The issue though is when we have first year students running teleprompter.
Yeah.
And they've never worked on the show.
Yeah.
And it's not like that's something that like the director or producers would be like, oh, remember. So in this show, they're going to maybe jump from this topic to this and it's not going to be in the script. Don't freak out. Like, just like, don't scroll until maybe you can tell, like, listen to see where they're at and then you can go find it.
And sitting next to you on the couch, I could tell by the tone of your voice when you're like, and we're switching back to the teleprompter now. You know?
Yeah. Well, and it's just like.
But we're there every week.
Exactly. So. Well, and that was a tough part is when we'd have a 3-week gap. Like, I think there was one
Yeah.
that was like, and so like we were in a groove finally, and then we
Yeah.
lost it all. And so you just have to take another episode to get used to it. And
Uh-huh.
then, but the worst one was we were chatting,
Uh-huh.
and I went back, and the teleprompter is flying. And it's one of those where we don't necessarily get the script.
Yeah.
At that point, I think they just stopped giving us the
Yeah,
script.
for sure.
So they gave us the script for like the first 2 episodes, but then we kind of realized like it's just gonna change or whatever. Like, so this is like the dry bones of what it's gonna be. So they'd give it to us like right when we get there, and and it's just like a couple of like intros, exits, right?
Well, it's a bit of a formula, right?
Yep. And so I was getting ready to go to the exit to go to the next segment, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's awesome. Let's cut back to the camera, and I just see the teleprompter go wee, and I'm like, so in my head I'm like, okay, what's logically what's coming
what
next?
fits in the formula here? Yeah.
What's coming next? And so like I think I tried to like break it down, but I remember being like I think we got out. Definitely it was sketchy, but I'm like,
add.
that was not great. And then I think we like lost the teleprompter the rest of the time just because then they got lost, so they didn't know where we were.
Exactly.
I think they came back right for like the ending, but I was like, I guess John, it's just you and I. We got to figure out what to say, which was fine.
Raw dogging
but yeah, no, and then just looking at the clock, making sure that we're not too over. Although I think we were over. We never went over. Obviously, you can't go over.
Yeah.
But there was a couple times where it was like, all right, this challenge is being cut from like a 1.5-minute challenge to 30 seconds to like cut time, and like
for sure.
But
I love that the being put in that stressful moment though, like the excitement of, I mean, I guess you could say something going wrong, but I mean that's like kind of something you plan for going wrong as far as like things go over. Timing is never going to be quite perfect, but there's nothing like that rush when like the producer, like when you cut to ad, mics go dark, and the producer come in, they're like, we gotta do this, we gotta change this right now, like, all right, move all this stuff out here, and you and I are just kind of standing there like, because we're plugged into a mic, so we can't really help all that much without unplugging stuff. So
the best is I had the IFB, and like you could only hear him sometimes, and then like But that was like that time where they're like, hey, just so you know, like, we are now over like a minute and a half. And you never want to hear that in a 30-minute show. Like, that's very bad. And I just remember being like, all right, we got to cook real quick. Like, so it's like the first section we like cut off 30 seconds. Next one we cut off another 30 seconds. It was like, we're doing good. And I remember it was like, that was like probably one of those where it's like credits that are like, you know, taking slides. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, we're out. Yeah. It's like you can't even read who it was, like a part of it. But
they just got to go back and watch the other episodes.
But like, going back to what you were saying though, that's like controlled
chaos.
Not controlled chaos. It's the idea of like, you know, something's gonna go wrong.
Yeah,
it's gonna go wrong, but it's not like you're gonna get in trouble for it going wrong. It's just like, oh, this is going wrong. We gotta figure it out. We gotta figure it out because, you know, no one's in trouble. Yeah. No one did it on purpose. Yeah. Whereas like otherwise you could sometimes be on sets or stage or whatever, and it's like everyone just feels like they're blaming it, and it's like, well, don't you get it? Like, a problem probably would have happened anyway. Oh, yeah. So it's not really anyone's fault. It's like, there's no need to, like, bitch someone out about it, you know?
Jeff Goldblum would say that's chaos theory.
You know? But, okay, so so we did a TV.
Yep, no doubt.
Talked about that. I don't think we did any other TV things with each other. No, which was kind of a cool experience. We both decided we weren't going to do the show that year.
Yeah, yeah.
Which helped a little.
Yeah. No, that's TV... That's the only TV experience I've had, for sure.
Which is a cool experience to just be able to say, like, oh, yeah, I did this.
Yeah.
And you're pretty prominent role on it.
Exactly. To jump in and host and everything was definitely, like, I could not have asked for a better opportunity, for sure.
Well, when they came, because they brought, we talked about it, and I was like, yo, I'd love to, like, I don't think I'm going to do the show. Let me know if, like, if you have a spot. And they're like, would you host? And I was like, yeah, sure. And they're like, yeah, now we just got to look for a co-host. And it was funny because, like, obviously I didn't think of anyone really in the theater department because I figured everyone was going to do the show, you know? Because the year before I didn't do the show and you did. So I just kind of assumed you would. But then I heard, like, I think we went out one time and you were like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go out for the show. And I was like, interesting. And then it was funny because, like, a week later, they're like, okay, we have Jon Bye. I was like, oh, there we go.
I remember we went out, I think it was actually after they had officially put us in the host-co-host rules. And then we went out for tacos or whatever. With you and me and the other people in the theater department who weren't doing the show. And we were just looking at each other like, oh my God, you guys, we have free time this semester. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no, that's the thing you take for granted is like, they're obviously doing a show, like a stage show, is awesome. And it's so fun. And the communities you have the opportunity to build, sometimes they don't build, but but when it does mesh, you know, and it's awesome, like, it doesn't feel like a waste of time.
Oh, no.
But when you do have a bad experience, you're like, I just wasted like 5 hours of my night because it's like, and it doesn't even have to be fun, but it just has to be tolerable. But when it's not, it's like, dude, what am I doing with this show? Because I'm not having fun anymore.
I don't know if I want to know how many productions we've been on together where you're at rehearsal and you're like, this is tolerable. Don't tell me, please.
It wouldn't be your fault.
Well, of course not.
Yeah, of course not.
No.
How many shows have we done together? 2? Am I forgetting one?
12th Night and Play Goes Wrong.
Yeah,
I guess that might be it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is great. No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We had classes together though.
Yeah, yeah. Directing was a good time. Were you in voice and diction?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time.
We didn't. Have we ever? Okay, so we could let's talk about this. Short film. Yeah. Have we ever done a short film besides what we just filmed last weekend?
No, I don't think so. And yet, you know, I give a lot of credit to you for like the reason I've been able to be involved in like short films and stuff like that. Because like,
really,
yeah, well, because you're in the RTF department and like people like you and like Jenna who split their time between both departments were always like huge advocates for like if you need theater people or people like on camera, like that's
true.
Yeah, like find some free time with theater kids. So. That's been a huge opportunity for me. No, to answer your question, I don't think we've been on.
I don't think so.
Oh, we did do another TV production together. One episode.
What would it have been? Was it? No.
You definitely trauma blocked it.
Oh, no, that wasn't trauma. We did. Okay. Well, I guess I wouldn't consider that a TV because that was more like a project we live streamed on like YouTube and stuff. That was fun, though. The Magician. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about the film project we just worked on.
Okay.
Which I thought was like, I didn't know. Dude, it's crazy. So it's not that it wasn't planned out very well in advance. They had it all planned. Just I think communication was like a little off in the sense of like,
really?
hey, this is our plan. This is the order we're shooting in.
Oh,
these
sure.
are the people that are going to be here at this time. These are going to be, it's like I don't think that was necessarily said very well, and so I had no idea really who was in which character.
Yeah.
Like when I got there or whatever, and then like I got there and I was like, so who? Like there was a number I didn't know, but like. I was like, how do I not know this number? Like, and then like couldn't figure it out. But then I found out like the day before that you were in it, and I was like, okay, W, let's go. Like, cause I didn't know who else was gonna be in the short film, which I thought was a lot of fun. Cause I haven't acted in like since spring.
Yeah, me neither. No, it was definitely a lot of fun. I always say both in the context of stage and camera that I'm an actor. No thoughts, head empty. Okay, so like. But for you, obviously somebody who's also worked, behind the scenes on a lot of stuff or whatever, I know that you would probably appreciate like a shot list or something like that, or like you'd at least be able to decipher it. That is gibberish to me. So like, if you give me the script and the time, I will be there at that time with some ideas for like, but obviously,
mostly memorized,
flexibility.
if not memorized.
Yeah. And that's the best that I can muster up here. And I just figured out from context clues that you were going to be the co-star because you reached out to our little chat, like, looking for people. And so then when I read the script for the first time, I was like, 100% Ranger Ruckus, got Jordan Whitrock written on it.
Well, because that's literally what we talked about. Because it's funny because when we graduated and walked across the stage, I asked them, I'm like, what are you guys gonna do? And I told them like, I'm starting a podcast. I don't know how long it's gonna last, what it's gonna be. That's what I'm doing starting in January. Like we would graduate in December, and I'm like, we somehow figured out a way. Clutch, thanks to Micah and Alex and all the people that have helped TD this show, kind of thing. Like, but I asked them, and Veda's like, I want to do like a spaghetti western, kind of like a comedy, like a play on what like westerns are, not serious, just like more of a funny.
It's like a genre
short
spoof.
skit. Yeah. And I was like, that's sweet. Like, let me know when it does. She's like, yeah, I will. And then we talked a little bit more, and I was like, hey, if you ever need actors, like, let me know. Like, I'd love to do it. And she's like, oh, like perfect. We'll definitely take you, kind of thing. And then that's like how it kind of unfolded. And so it was kind of fun to like have that full circle moment. Where like it was like a short-term goal all of us had, and we basically all like completed it. You know? And so it's
congratulations.
And so that's kind of fun to like look back and be like, wow, that was like almost a year ago minus 3 months.
That you talked about it for the first time, like, and plans came to fruition.
But also just like time is so going fast.
Yeah.
For
sure.
But
no, I'm very like, I think the best word I can say is that I'm just like proud of you guys, like you. Not only for this show and everything like that has been so steady, so consistent. And I know you've had just a tiny little handful of repeat guests, but it's like so many new people all the time. And you know what it really speaks to? You're a very friendly person and you have a lot of connections. And so like every time that it comes up in my YouTube feed or Discord or whatever, I'm like, oh yeah, of course you got that person on there too. So no, I've been, and something else that I was going to ask you actually is, have you ever thought about doing an episode where you reverse the roles, because you're kind of like an interviewer a little bit for the show, right? Like you kind of are keeping things on track, hosting, asking us questions. How would you feel about bringing on someone else who would ask you questions? Because we got to get the Jordan Whitrock story.
No, I get that. I've thought about that. What's tough is like when you're in a space like this, and I know other people that have either started podcasts or they have their own podcast. And in my mind, I'm like, dude, we grow each other's audience. We switch so that like, kind of like what you're saying. It's like, now if I go on that show, they're just going to ask me questions. It's like, it's not me running the interview.
Right.
It's just them asking me questions. I answer. And then my audience goes over there to be like, okay, what is who is Jordan?
Yeah.
Like really, from like maybe stories I haven't heard or whatever that is.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's like a couple of like that I've worked with or talked about and nothing's come to fruition, But I mean, I feel like I talk a lot about, I think because obviously I've live streamed for 2-3 years.
True.
So a lot of stories like have come out that way, but I noticed there's different vibe on this show. In the sense of like, there's different things I share on the show that maybe I haven't shared on live stream.
Well, do you also think that your live streams and this show share an audience? Like, do you think there's really a lot of overlap there, or do you think they're kind of like different audiences?
There's a little overlap. I know that for a fact. I think what's so powerful about this show, but then also live streaming, is that like I have a younger audience live streaming.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's like when I talk about stuff, either they'll bring it up in the live stream and like be like, yo, what, like, why this or what this?
Oh,
And you
really?
can kind of talk about it. Or also like if they just want to ask
Interesting.
you questions because they heard about something, it's like I'm right there.
Yeah.
Because like obviously you were friends, so it's like you could message me, talk to me, whatever, or we could go hang out, do whatever,
Sure.
and you can get your answers whenever. But to people like that maybe I'm not friends
No,
with.
I'm waiting for the live stream.
Yeah. Maybe the people that I'm not closest to or not friends with or that live in Virginia or something that watch a live stream, it's like that's their moment to be able to like have that connection with me and in like a more intimate
sure.
setting because it's a smaller community. It's not so large where it's
sure.
like you kind of blow everyone off except for like the one or two that you catch as it's going.
Yeah.
But
hey, actually, that reminds me. Now that I know that there's a little bit of crossover between these audiences,
Yep.
that reminds me of a fairly cringeworthy story from back. Like it was actually one of the first times I think that we hung out and we were getting to know each other and like hit the bars down in Oshkosh and stuff. And it was for your birthday.
Yep.
And you were doing
22nd.
the birthday stream.
Yep.
Yeah, which totally iconic. That was so much fun to just like pass the phone around and occasionally just jump on and be
well,
like,
you know what's so funny about that? So, so I had literally just broken up with my girlfriend at that time, and like, for me, it's like, oh, like, obviously we broke up for good reasons. Like, I don't think it would have worked, but then it just leaves a hole in you that you're like, oh, I'm so used to doing this. Like, I'm so used to having this be part of my schedule that no longer is, which is fine and that's healthy. And for me, live streaming, I was like, I really want this to work. And the only way for it to work is to kind of like pick up my consistency. So it was almost like, I don't know, you could say it was a positive or negative escape mechanism from
like
that.
you wanted to fill that hole like a little bit.
And like,
occupy your time.
Some people can go way overboard doing something, not healthy or good. And
No
mine
kidding.
would be like, I guess, live stream, which you could argue is bad because I'm isolating myself in my room. But to me, I'm like, I'm not because I'm talking to people.
Yeah,
but then people that are like, but you're never going to see these people probably. So like, what's
I don't know.
the worthiness of that? And so it's like, I can see the arguments of people that maybe don't understand what live streaming really is and what that is. But
I don't know. And I certainly am not speaking for you, only my own interpretation. I don't think that you would lean on, people in your live stream audience the same way you'd lean on your like real life person friends. But I don't think that it's a bad way to spend your time.
I mean, I would lie to you and say that I don't lean on my audience because I remember streaming to 0 people for like a year and a half. And it's like, it's that like, not ego, but also just like whatever that is. It's like if I live stream and like not the regulars show up. And when I say regulars, I mean like the 6, 7 regulars that join in and we talk. Like if they don't show up, to me it's like, oh, like I've fallen off. Like
That's
no one
true.
cares. Like why am I even doing this?
That's true. It
Because
is
like
important to have
part of me
those.
is like I do this for them because I know how much it means to them when I go live. And it's like, oh, if no one's showing up, then I'm not needed to go live, which I feel like will happen. And that will be my moment where it's like, this is no longer worthy of my time in the way that it was in the past. And like, I don't think there's like a need for me to continue to create that type of content. And I feel like when that will happen at some point where then I won't. But going back to that night, so it was my 22nd birthday. We literally broke up like not even a month ago. It was like maybe 2 weeks. So it was like kind of before my birthday. And then I was like, guys, we should all go out, which everyone was like, yeah, let's do it, which was probably like pity points. But so we went out and I was like, guys, can I live stream this?
Yeah.
It was like I think that might have been the first ever like IRL live stream.
Yeah.
Because then Micah, Josh, and I did an IRL stream, but we frisbee golfed, which was, go back and watch that one. It's literally us getting demolished by mosquitoes, and the other 75% is us looking for discs because we played on a course that had tall grass and we just kept losing it. But anyway, that night was funny because I kind of brought that up to everyone. Everyone was like, but it was my birthday. So like, you really gonna tell birthday boy? Like,
I could be misremembering, but I think I was all for it. Because,
but I'm saying, like, I'm not saying everyone, but there was people in the group that are like, really? Are we really gonna do this? Or it was like they weren't gonna buy in. Like I don't think, I wouldn't say that you were someone that was like, let's go over live stream. I think you were like, all right, like cool. We can.
It's not hurting anything.
It's not gonna hurt or ruin as long as it doesn't ruin the experience, right?
Yeah.
And then there was a couple people that hopped on that was kind of crazy or funny. But then like the meme for the rest of that year was like, we just had said, yo, what's up, chat? Like so many times that the meme the rest of the time was, yo, what's up, chat? How we doing?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm holding on to this a little bit too tightly, but at the same time, I haven't thought about it since then. But I'm reminded now, going back to these audiences crossing over. So I'm just wondering if the individual who insisted that I looked like the Hunchback of Notre Dame that night. Still in the audience somewhere. I would just like to say, it has not fazed me. I'm back again. You can't keep me out of Jordan's life.
I definitely was not a part of that conversation. That must have been when I handed off the phone to like a group of 4, and then I was talking to someone else.
It was like getting passed around. And I like had it for a second, and then I went to Luke, and then like it was on Luke, and Luke was like reading the chat, and they're like, Hunchback, who do they? Oh no! Put that guy back on.
Dude, I gotta look at that part of the video. I did not. That's so funny. But I don't. Maybe he that person actually might have showed up in the last stream, but had been gone for like 4 months before that.
Sweet.
So
I'd like to get some engagement going.
If you're
with
watching
that person.
this, we need to follow up on that. That's so crazy. I forgot about that.
But anyway, so what else do we want to talk about? Oh, you know what? I have something.
Yeah.
Because we were talking a little bit about that sort of controlled. You said not chaos. I'm gonna say chaos.
Okay.
Controlled chaos that happens with any kind of like live production. Because it's important to mention that like the TV show that we did together, you know, we hosted, that was a like live production, right? Versus like a scripted sort of like production. And so it kind of, to a certain degree, with that controlled chaos, had the same vibes as like being on stage on a stage production, theater production, because it's like you just have to fix the mistake, like, and move on, you know. And I've definitely had a handful of those in my theater career. And
that's what I was gonna ask. I was like, have you ever had an experience? I guess, when did you start? Let's go theater.
Oh boy.
When did you start theater? Like, when were you like, oh, this is kind of fun or whatever? Like, is that high school, middle school?
Yeah, high school. I never thought that I was like a theater kid, quote unquote, like through middle school and stuff like that. Honestly, played a lot of sports. Played a lot of basketball. You know, as a tall person, they like to force you into that. Played lacrosse, actually. That was pretty sick as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that the most like Northeast Wisconsin?
I feel like that's tough too with being like super tall. Like, I feel like you just get chopped all the time.
Oh, no doubt. But also just having insanely long legs, like I could outrun everybody, you know, in a sprint. So that was fun. But then ultimately, once I got to high school, did high school sports, lacrosse for a year, and I was like, and they took sports very seriously at the high school I went to. Yeah, we're talking about
you D1 though. Or D2?
I don't know. Well, D1 for sure, as far as like, you know, all the big ones, football, basketball, that kind of thing.
I see what you're saying. For the smaller sports.
Yeah. It was taken very seriously, like lacrosse as well, because it was like an up and coming program and they had a reputation. And so you do training, show up to school 6 a.m., hit the gym before class. You do preseason training for like weeks or months, like before the season starts. And then you would do conditioning all throughout the summer, you know, and stuff like that. So it was like one sport all year round, you know what I mean? It's a little much.
I talked to that with my dad a lot about, like, I guess you're a unique situation because when we talk, it's like if you're not in D1 and maybe D2, like a very popular, well-known D2 school,
Sure.
You know, like, are we really devoting our life to like one sport because we're gonna go pro? Like, if you're not good enough to devote your life to one sport and be at like the most insane D3 basketball where every D1 school is like, hey, come play with us because you get recognized. You know, it's like if you're not that,
then
what are we doing?
Yeah, what's the time
commitment?
commitment?
It's like, or why wouldn't you go do another sport just for fun?
For sure.
It's
Yeah. So ultimately, I was like, that's not for me. And then of course, you know, I had this experience a lot with my parents where they're like, okay, you have to do something though. Like and honestly, looking back on it, appreciate that big time. I think that's huge. I think that's super important for sure. And so I was like, okay, gotta find something to do. And I had a buddy who had started doing like lighting, you know?
Oh, okay.
For the theater department at my high school. And I was like, hey, can I get hooked up with that? Because at my high school, they even had like you could get paid to do the lighting there. Like, so not only would you get kind of like credit, like stage credit and stuff like that, but you'd also could do events and stuff like that. So that sounded awesome to me. So that is my humble beginning when I was 15.
Putting in light bulbs.
Oh my God, lamps. Excuse you. They're not bulbs. They're lamps.
But wait, don't you have a bulb in the lamp?
No, that's what the bulb is called. It's called a lamp. Like a bulb is like not like a technical.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, it
And
went over my head.
Yep, it's way
Yeah.
past me now. That was
I
actually
use LEDs. We don't
10
have to
years
worry
ago.
about that.
No, you cannot touch the lamp with your anyway.
Yeah, you gotta get gloves.
Yep, and like 15 years old, like climbing up a ladder, like
You feel so important.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
like 20, 30 foot sheer ladder up to the catwalk, and then like just the absolute sketchiest stuff, man. Like climbing up the ladder with one hand, holding like 30, 40-pound light in the other hand, going one rung at a time, you know what I mean? And then you get up to the catwalk, and then you gotta like, for the audience at home, like stick your feet out, like out the catwalk, and like hold the light like on your feet while you like hook it up and stuff so you don't drop it. Anyway, so that was chill, and then that was the end of that school year. And then coming into the next school year, I had a buddy and his girlfriend who were both in the show choir, and they were planning on auditioning for the musical.
Okay.
And they were like, you should do this musical because it was Spamalot, which, if you don't know, is Monty Python's Holy Grail, the musical version, like the Broadway version.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so I'm like, of course, I love Monty Python. My life is founded to a certain degree on Monty Python. So, of course, I want to audition for this. And so that was my first time on stage, was Spamalot. Still my
So that would
favorite
have been
musical.
sophomore year?
Junior.
Junior year.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I guess
you
I
did
kinda like-
lighting for sophomore year then.
Yes, exactly.
Got you.
Yep. Yep. And that's like an exclusive club as well. Like there's not like a whole heck of a lot of like different technical departments at the school we went to at the university. But at my high school, man, there was like a caste system, you know what I'm saying? Like, and lighting was like a whole separate animal. Like if you're in lights, you don't leave lights. So it was like a huge anomaly that I moved on to be on stage. Yeah.
So it was like, okay. So it was like kind
It's
of
like a club, like an exclusive club, you know what I mean?
cultish?
Yeah, cultish, big time, big time.
I feel like there's so many dumb theater things like that. That's, like I found so many cults like vibes in like on stage and stuff like that, even more than any other place I've been that's entertainment related, which is like kind of, I don't know. You could argue it's building culture.
Yeah, for sure.
But also cults can be a negative thing too.
Right.
You know?
It's if you're, okay, this is not like a groundbreaking statement here, but like if you're inside the cult, you feel like you're part of something, and that's really important. Like you said, building culture, and you feel like me and my friends are unique, and we understand things that only we understand, and that's what makes us such good friends. But if you're on the outside, or if you're brand new coming in, that's a huge barrier for entry.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
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 Yep. The cults.
I love cults. I try my best to take cults apart. I feel like I'm pretty good at it.
Oh, dude, I felt super like a big part of it. I felt super welcome when I came to UW Oshkosh.
Was that the first show that you ever did at Oshkosh? Was that the one act?
Yeah, Play That Goes Wrong. Yeah. Yeah, no, I came to school.
It's a legendary show.
Oh my god. It actually
early.
went wrong.
You peaked early.
Oh no. I was just beginning to peak, Jordan.
So would you say that what was the best show that you were ever a part of at Oshkosh?
Dracula, which I
see.
hope you're not offended since you weren't a part of it, but
no, I'm
that
not offended.
was. I wish you were, because then that would have taken it up another level from what it already was.
I know for a fact if I would have done Dracula, there would have been issues that year.
Just too much
With
on your plate.
people. No, with people.
Got you.
There's a lot of people that like wanted roles really badly.
Got you. It was,
and I mean, that's when Duck Duck was, so I didn't feel bad for not doing it because I was doing it to other TV show, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I feel good that like I didn't, But I remember I made that decision, wasn't going to do it, and then I was closing up the office when I was working at the office, and that's when auditions were starting, and I saw Ryan walk in, the director, and he's like, are you auditioning for the show? And I'm like, oh, actually, I'm not. I'm doing the TV show. And so he's like, there's so many roles that you could be. Yeah. And I'm like, that right there tells me that I would have made so many enemies that I had no, like, it's not like I would have done Dracula and been like, this is the show I've literally wanted to. If that was like that, then it's like, oh, hell yeah, I'm doing that, you know? But it's like a show, it's like, I'm iffy about it. Yeah. And I don't really have a character that I'm like, that's the one I want. Yeah. And so if I somehow get casted into someone else's character, that's the one they really want. And it's not, and I'm not, and it's like, it's not that they don't deserve it, but it's like I feel like they would also do an okay job at it or a good job. It's
well,
like,
I think that's the important thing to realize about educational theater is like it's not about you all the time. It's about like kind of the collective, and so yeah, I appreciated that. I mean, hey, that's obviously I wouldn't have held it against you. But like that could have even been me. Like if you would have been like, sure, I'll do a role, then that could have been me who got squeezed out. You know what I mean? And that turned into the best for me personally as an actor, the best experience like production I've been a part of.
If you ask me which role, if you like me personally, which role, and maybe the director had a different idea.
Yeah.
What role out of the cast
for you?
What do you think it would have been?
You would have been Harker for sure, Jonathan Harker.
Yeah.
I hope people.
That's who I would have thought. That's who I thought after watching the show, because I didn't read the script. Because I was like, I'm not doing it, and there's no sense reading it.
No, man.
And then watching the show, I'm like, and he did a great job in the role.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, if there was one that I think I could have done, it probably would have been that one. Because I'm not that extreme in like those types of storylines. Like it's maybe more difficult for me to get to that point. But that seems so like. That seems so like he's the normal guy that gets messed up because of what's happening, and it's like that to me seems realistic. Like that I could do that. That makes sense
I think,
to me,
and I also feel that in any rendition of like Dracula, that Jonathan Harker is a bit of an audience insert because of the fact that like you said, leads a very like normal life, and so you can easily get yourself like attached behind those eyes, and then watch what happens as he kind of falls apart and everything. So. But yeah, and you know what? Now I am like feeling a little bit regretful because if you would have been in that role, that would have been you and me and Drake as basically
at
like
the end.
Yeah,
that's true.
The final fight.
Yep.
But you know what? It's all good.
I think it was all meant to be.
Yeah, it really was. It was definitely like.
It's funny you say like, oh, you would have took my role. I would not have taken your role. You play a really good, like. Scientist is not the word I'm looking for, but that kind of type of character. Intellectual. Thank you. Like you play a very good intellectual, like calculated, like character.
Thank you.
And your role that's what it was. And so yours was you just like slipped right into there, and it felt like I bought into that character as like a storyteller.
That's where I landed in 1776 as well, just right into a very particular character. Like the best characters that I can play are like definitely pushing their glasses up their nose kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, like, that's why I think it was fun to film what we did last week. Your
totally
character
different.
was completely opposite, and you could tell that you were like slightly uncomfortable. No. But then you could tell like when. The most comfortable I felt that you were in that character is when you were talking about the map, because that was like the intellectual. That was like the intellectual part.
Oh, sure, yeah. Now I'm breaking it down.
That you were like, I'm breaking down something. Like I'm in the zone. Like boom, boom, boom. Funny part. Like funny word. Like this is like so the audience remembers this. Mm-hmm. You slide in that pause there. It's like oh, that was. But it was like the parts where you were like supposed to be like not that.
Yeah,
you were like, you could tell you were like, okay, I'm trying to figure it out. Like it took a little longer to get there, you know, which is just always fun to watch people work.
And I also, just came in that day and decided like, I'm going to try this absurd over the top, like silly voice. You know what I mean? If they tell me to do something different, no shame. Like that's one of the most fun parts of any acting experience is trying something that's scary. And then, and seeing what the reaction is, from your director and everything like that. And no matter which way it goes.
Well, and that was a very forgiving set of like, do whatever you want.
Yeah, no kidding.
Which is nice, because sometimes you don't get those. Have you ever had an experience where like it's like my way or the highway? Stop it.
Man, I'd say that goes back to high school a little bit, but also I kind of have a unique perspective on that as far as I don't mind that style of directing.
Yeah.
Like I've said it once on this very show. I'll say it again. Actor, no thoughts, head empty. So like, if you tell me like exactly what to do, I will try my best to like execute on that. And that's it. At the end of the day, like I don't take ownership over my roles. Does that make sense? I know a lot of people get
meaning just
like they feel personally attached to like, this is not only my character, this is my version, my portrayal. Yeah. And I'm not too attached to that egotistical like side of it. Not to say that people who think that way are egotistical.
No, that's exactly what you're saying, but it's fine. No, I'm kidding.
And I'm talking about you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but yeah, so it just like, it doesn't faze me the same way that I know other people would feel shut down by the inability to try new things and stuff like that. I'd say that where it gets aggravating is where the director is maybe looking for those sorts of like, bring yourself into it, and then you try those things, and and it's just like shot down, shot down, shot down, shot down. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
never good
And
enough.
I think we might be thinking of the same director
See,
right now, but
my directing style that I like to work under, like if you could pick the perfect directing style is the mix of both, which I think is kind of what you're saying, where it's like I need to have some structure of like, hey, this is the goal, this is what we're doing.
Yes.
Your character needs to get from A to B. It needs to feel A to B. Like this is what we're doing. I need you to do that for me. But within that, I have the ability to be like, I feel like this character wouldn't do this.
Oh yeah.
To get there, it would do this to get there.
100%.
And have that conversation. Because also, it's like the director might be like, no, I need it like this. This is what helps these characters. And it's like, oh, okay, you're right. Like I'm thinking of just myself, which I'm supposed to as an actor. I need to think of the other like
the logistics.
Characters. Yeah.
That's a huge thing for sure. I definitely appreciate you got to have that conversation if you're interpreting a character or a certain character's action a different way. Have that conversation with the director. And sometimes you won't like the answer that you get because they might shoot down your idea.
Yeah.
But and if it comes down to just straight up interpreting the text differently, sometimes that can get a little messy where it's like, well, that's not how I saw it, but that's okay. You still got to go with, their vision because they have their eye on the whole picture, But the other thing as well is like the best answer I can get personally is if it's like, no, we need you to do that because like we need you to exit here because you're coming on here like a page later.
Yeah.
And it's just logistics.
Yep.
And that's like, honestly, I cannot argue that.
The hardest show I've ever done.
Play that goes wrong.
Nope. Because that was like that. It was very strict and like, hey, boom, boom.
Logistics.
It has to be this way because otherwise someone's going to get hurt, right?
Yeah.
It has to be like this for the story plot because it doesn't make sense if you walk in one way and come in the other, right? And it's like, for that show, there was moments where it's like, okay, could I like mess her? Like, what if I came in and did like something funny with my body? And then
that was a very
and then the
unique
director was
opportunity.
like, I like that. But keep our blocking what we've done, but you could do that minor change to it. And it just felt like, okay, I have a little control of what I got.
And we got to say that is a unique circumstance because your character is an actor, and your character is a bad actor.
Yeah.
So they might do things that are
So you had
silly.
to find like the two characters or whatever.
Yeah.
But that show was just, you and I both got hurt on that show. Maybe different severities, but
yeah, you got hurt way worse because you were actually bleeding.
Nuh-uh.
I know.
What do you mean? Okay, let's break it down. So we'll talk about my injury first because it happened first,
Yeah, chronologically.
And so so the show, the play that goes wrong, the play that goes wrong, the one act play that goes wrong.
Right.
There we go. We build a set. And obviously the idea is that like a company comes in to put on a show. The show goes wrong. And there's nothing that goes right for the most part. How our set was built, we had a fog machine coming out of one of the vents as just like an aesthetic thing for when you're on the set, right? And we hadn't quite built it right. But there was a lot of physical stuff in the show. And so one of the scenes is when we knock out one of the actresses and we have to like pull her through a window without people seeing us. Obviously everyone sees us, so it's not a good solution. And
that's the comedy.
Exactly. And so there's a bench there, but the issue was it wasn't fully built yet.
Right.
And so there was the bench was like here. If this is like the front of the stage, bench is here. Well, the fog machine metal stuck out just a little bit.
The hair.
And so it's a fast like get down on all your knees, quickly grab and go. Well, the issue was when I just dropped to my knees and I caught the metal, and so it just scraped off my knee basically, like ripped all that skin off. And I'm like, that hurt. But I couldn't tell, like, obviously we didn't have time to look, so we're still doing this rest of the scene.
Well, I think it's important to note as well that, like, the blocking of the scene is us taking control of another human being's body and moving them. So, like, you can't just ow, I hurt myself and just drop. You know what I mean?
You're
like,
supposed to be able to do that. If I remember correctly, that's what we were taught was to be like.
Well, call it out in some way.
But I saw it as like, hey, but I didn't think I was hurt that bad.
Yeah.
I thought I like scratched. You get like a white scratch mark, right? I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
But then I remember we were like, okay, we're done. I stood up and looked down, and there was blood dripping down my leg, and then the mat that we were on was like full of blood.
Yeah.
And our stage manager maybe he's not the greatest in high tense situations, which is ironic because that's their job. And so it was like a whole thing, right? But then that was my injury. Not that severe. Put 3 Band-Aids on it. It bled through.
He got a
but then we
boo-boo on
moved
his knee.
Yeah, so we're fine.
Yeah.
Now we go to John's injury, which...
Okay. This was messed up, man. This was definitely the most messed up situation that has ever happened to me like in the course of like a show run, okay? Because we're just doing one weekend, Thursday to Sunday. Very simple.
Yep.
We've worked on the show for 2+ months, you know, more or less every weeknight, like
Yep.
grinding. And ultimately, the moral of the story is that we did opening night. It was a hit. It was awesome. Everything went according to plan.
Yep.
Next day, Friday, we have a show that evening, 7 o'clock or whatever. Earlier in the day, had some classes, and man, I was really feeling myself. It was so good. Back in theater for the first time in like 2 years.
The show
Doing
killed
an
it.
Awesome
Like,
show. Yeah,
yep.
like having a lot of fun with new friends and everything. Not only that, but I'm starting to feel like physical. It's springtime. I'm gonna ride my bike like to and from class. You know, I live pretty close. This is awesome. And that bike did me dirty, man. That bike did me so dirty.
So you're coming back from class, right?
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
And it's happened in the most anticlimactic way possible, where like I didn't even do anything dumb, didn't like get hit on anything, didn't crash it or whatever. Literally just casually rode the bike home, got home. All right, here we go. Time to hop off this thing, swing my leg over the side, and I'm like leaning over to my left side.
Oh. I have bad knees, so like I can feel exactly everything that you like.
All my weight is on my left leg as I swing my right leg over, including like my backpack and all that stuff or whatever. Just leaned a little bit too far. The pop was insane, Jordan. The pop was crazy. I wish I had that on recording. Like,
dude, it probably echoed down Wisconsin Street.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, just loudest pop ever. Literally fell on my back. I was like an upturned turtle. I am not kidding. I was like an upturned turtle, like with my backpack on my back. Like, oh wow, that hurts so bad, and it's just such a flash of pain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you just go from 0 to 100 so fast. And I just laid there like trying to breathe and like soak it in or whatever. Thankfully, my roommate came home from class like a few minutes later or whatever, and I knew that he was just gonna like walk straight to the front door. So I was like just shouting his name like, Jack, come help me. I can't get up.
I've fallen and I can't get. Wait, were you outside?
Outside the house.
You couldn't walk in.
Yeah, just on my back, like I said, upturned turtle. He came.
How
helped
long
me
were you
up.
there? You think?
That's a good question. Probably like 10 or 15 minutes.
We got tears. Are we yelling?
No tears.
Okay.
I don't know. That's not my style. Like when I get
Yeah.
injured, like is usually I don't break into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, just kind of screaming for help more than anything.
No.
He helped me out, and it was like what was awesome was the level of denial that I had at the time, where I was just like, okay, ow, we twisted the knee a little bit. This is a super physical show where like my character, especially because I played one of the like technical like characters within the canon of the show. So I'm like one of the people who's running around constantly backstage, the real stage, to like pretend like I'm fixing stuff. Anyway, the point is that I went inside, I put my leg up, put ice on it, and I was like, we'll be good to go tonight, no problem. I was like, hey, Jack, can you just run over to Walgreens and pick me up like a brace or something? We'll just hold it together. It's all good. He goes to do that. I jump in the shower to like get everything ready. And that's where I knew that it was messed up beyond repair, because I go in the shower. Obviously, you spend some time like on one leg doing whatever. And when I went on my left leg, this is kind of like a bit of a warning. Like it literally felt like my like femur and my like tibia were just gonna like slide past each other, like just no support. You know what I mean?
That's so tough.
Yeah. And then so that's when I finally got in contact with our stage manager and was like, I am on my way to the hospital right now to figure out what the problem is, but I'm just letting you know, odds are not looking good that I'm going to be on stage tonight.
Again, we have a stage manager who's not the greatest at high intense. It's not his. He's got other strengths, right? You just have weaknesses, and that's maybe one of his weaknesses, which is unfortunate. But obviously no one knows what's going on, right?
Yeah.
I think ironically that's the one night I was going to get there late. So it's like, hey, like I can be there at the show. That's not the problem. I have enough time. I have like an hour, plenty enough time to get ready and do all the warm ups and stuff. But I forget what I had. I was going to be late. So I remember probably had my headphones in, like walk in, and I could just feel the energy of like everyone's in costume already, and there's like hearts are beating faster. Like, you know, there's just that
I love you innocently walking in.
And I'm like, what's going on, guys? Because I had no idea. And they're like, yeah, John's like in the hospital right now. Like he's probably not gonna make it. No, they're like, I don't think he's not gonna come back. He's not gonna probably be here for the show. Like, we don't even know what we're gonna do. And I think the frustrating part is like, I'm someone that's like, if you get news like that, you can't do anything.
Exactly. Just like what we were talking about earlier.
So it's like, I could get jacked up and be like, oh my gosh, like, how could that happen to John? And like, what are we even going to freaking do now? Because we don't have another actor. We didn't have an understudy for that role. It's like, or you could be like, oh, okay.
Show goes on.
So if we're going to put this show on, we probably need a warm body in that role if we have that available to us. If we don't have that available to us, then maybe we could like divvy up that part a little bit. How can we fix this?
Yeah, problem solving.
And
that's the fun part.
And I think our director also came late, which was also the issue. So then I think people thought they had to take it upon themselves to solve this issue. And it's like, that's above your pay grade. Like, let's not worry about this. We're just going to have to like wait to get an answer. Which, if someone was going to get hurt on that show, you were the best person to get hurt.
True.
Because that was your first show coming back. So I don't even know why, but you had every single possible note that was ever given to you labeled perfectly in every single spot of the entire script.
I had a lot of free time during rehearsal.
But like to the point where it's like anyone could have picked up that script and done your part without ever practicing it once. Which was like insane because that's exactly what happened.
Guys, I did not only have all of my marks and lines like written out like in a separate sort of like guidebook for myself because my character has a book, so it was logical for him to carry it around. But I literally had the like movement cues that I just came up with myself through trial and error. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so this part, like I have to be here to do this thing, and then above that I'd be like, note, leave when this character says this line. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just went into like excessive detail because I had not a whole lot better to do during the rehearsal process, and it really paid off. It did really pay off quite well, and that was Jenna ultimately and Maddie, who stepped in and filled it up
on the show, which was
awesome.
Was clutch because I don't, like you said, it was nice because your character was a backstage character.
I literally only had like 3 or 4 lines.
So holding a script to do what you need to,
right?
It just felt natural in the show. Whereas like if you had like Aaron's role, that would be unnatural because you are the one that's supposed to have everything memorized and have everything go right. And holding a script would be like, that kind of breaks the scene we're in. You know, audience doesn't buy into that as much, but. I felt so bad because that was your first show back, and to have that happen, I was just thankful that you got an opportunity to perform it once.
Oh yeah, me too, big time. I was thankful for the vibes when I when I finally did get out of the ER and everything like that. The best they could do for me at the time was like, well, we're gonna have to schedule like MRI and stuff like that to really deal with this for now. Just take these crutches and get out of here, right? And just don't do anything with it. And so then I felt obligated, of course, to like come do what I could to help, like in that last 30 minutes or hour, like before we went on stage. Everyone else went on stage, I should say. And I remember like getting dropped off by my buddy straight from the ER with my crutches and hobbling into the backstage door. And like as soon as I made contact with like you and Drake and Aaron, you guys literally picked me up like palanquin style, like by my shoulders and like my butt and walked me to like and then the other people were following behind you with like the chair and the stool and just like absolute kingly treatment and just like sat me down and you guys were like, so what do we need to do?
Break it down to us.
It was awesome. No, that like so much support. And then I got to be backstage with you guys that night too, just to make sure that if on the spot, like Jenna had any questions, she could just come and ask me about like my notes and stuff. So, hey, the play went wrong, but it worked out. What I honestly can't forget is how awesome that must have been for the audience. Like if I try to put myself in their position, there's so much that goes wrong in the show. It's hard to know where the truth begins or where the script ends and the truth begins. So for the very first like character to come out and give the announcement about like we're about to start, like silence your phones or whatever, that's a character that's written in the script to do that. But then to also throw in, and this role actually due to an injury is going to be played by this other person. I'll bet you 99% of the audience was like, that's part of the script. That's not real. It was
due
real.
to the last performance that the guy twisted his knee. He's unable to. That's so funny,
dude. And you said you have bad knees, so I'm glad that we can relate to this. And man, like straight up, like I always heard this my whole life, but now I can be the person to reiterate it. Do not mess with your knees. That sucks. That is
it's so true. Your knees and that's that thing where it's like
do not recover fully ever.
Obviously you want your hands and you want your arms because that allows you to grab stuff, play video games, all that good stuff, right? All the stuff you want to do, right? Throw a football. If you don't have legs, a hip, a knee, an ankle joint, you are staying right there doing 4 million podcast episodes because you're not moving.
Yeah.
Which I think is like I would rather have no arms than like no legs.
Interesting. No,
you would rather have no. All right, let's ask this question.
Yeah, would you
All right,
rather?
I'll let you think about it, Micah. Would you rather have no arms or no legs?
Oh. It actually is a tough question.
It's a tough one.
Honestly,
I don't think you realize how much you do with your legs, though.
Yeah.
I think
Like having the ability
no
to,
arms.
Having the ability to wake up and roll out of bed and walk to the bathroom.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're taking your pants off, but like that's another issue. But I'm saying like the things like that, where it's like you can't get up in the morning without like having to get like a wheelchair or something. Like, and again, if you're watching this and you have no arms or no legs, like my heart goes out to you. And like,
No kidding.
that's a tough life.
Yeah, we're not trying to make light of your problems,
for sure.
but like,
Micah, stop laughing.
yeah. That's a huge. You didn't tell me that a huge portion of your audience were amputees. Now I feel terrible.
Yeah.
No, but okay. Here's the thing. I'm gonna have to take the contrarian route.
All right.
I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate just because you two seem fairly aligned as far as losing your arms.
No,
first.
that doesn't matter. Would you rather have your legs have no legs than actual arms?
I think that
that's what
I
you
think
would
that
actually
if I had. I think that you're taking for I think that for the average person who has all 4 of their limbs, the legs are taken for granted. I agree with that because human life is hands-on, is tactile with your hands, and your legs are just kind of there to get you from point A to point B. Yeah. But at the same time, your arms can fill in that role. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys have seen this before. You guys ever see the YouTube video where the guy has no legs and he like actually beats the heck out of a guy on the street without any legs? Look this up, okay? It's like
I guess here, this might change what you're thinking. I'm thinking it's like cut here.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too.
Okay.
I'm thinking that too. You never seen people they can walk on their hands?
No.
They
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
you
they
ever seen
kind of
people play piano with their toes?
Can we? Does he have feet to the thing?
No,
Can
we need to work on how to get feed there. That was in the process at one point, but then it was like I didn't have the ability. I think I'm missing it. I have one less HDMI connector than I need, and I think we would be able
I have a million extra. Okay.
Yeah.
But besides, if you did that, then you probably have to pay this guy, right? Because it's now he's got it on the fly cast.
No, that's what. Yeah, I mean, it would literally just be like and we're there.
Sure.
And we're back.
Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna take the no legs because you know what? At the end of the day, you said that you gotta roll out of bed and go to the bathroom and stuff like that. But I genuinely have a lot of faith in people who have struggled harder than I have and are able to do that without legs. Because they can use their arms to get into a chair, or they can use their arms to actually move themselves around, if it's cut all the way up by the hip. You know what I mean? And besides that, I guess it's kind of if here's the dilemma. Here are the 2 hands. Okay, on the one hand, you might need help with the bathroom if you have no legs, okay?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you have no arms, everyone is feeding you. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So they're both kind of intimate
I
things.
choose the tube every time.
Tube life.
Yeah, we stick that thing way down there.
Yeah.
No, that's so true though. I don't want to have not limbs. I was gonna say. I was gonna say it right. I don't want to have no limbs. Yes.
Yes. I would like to retain the number of limbs I was.
So we just
born
gotta
with.
stay healthy enough.
Actually, I could take an extra. If you were gonna get an extra limb, would you take?
Where would you
an
put
extra
it?
leg?
Where would you put it?
Or an extra arm? I'm asking you.
I don't think we need an arm. You don't need 3 legs.
That's true. But then but what if you had that spare leg?
But what's it gonna do for you?
What's it gonna do for
you?
you?
Is it gonna actually make you run faster?
Yeah, I think it can. I think it could.
So?
Well,
Michael, look it up. If we had, if humans were designed to have 3 limbs, would we run faster?
I'm honestly thinking about because you got these Star Wars posters behind you, and I'm thinking there has to be a creature or a vehicle in Star Wars that has 3 legs, and it's or maybe in real life, but my life is not real. It's Star Wars. So yeah, it could make you go faster, or at the very least, you just have that spare one out there, so you can use 2 legs to get around, and then you have your kicking leg.
But wouldn't you rather have a third one to help you grab stuff?
Like an arm? Well, yeah, of
Yeah.
course, but I'm just playing devil's advocate again.
Nah. But all right, wait. Micah's got. What do we got?
Does 3 legs make you faster? Because 4 legs definitely makes you faster.
I feel like it's not gonna make you faster.
Okay.
It's definitely gonna make you faster.
Having 3 legs would likely not make you faster due to the added complexity of balance and coordination that would overall hinder your running efficiency.
That was my.
Listen,
Yeah.
I have one more question before we potentially get back on to other bigger and better things. Was that the Google AI summary?
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. Google AI summary is just trying its best
Dude, yeah.
to answer the
The
most
sad thing is
inane
that was like
questions.
the 13,000th time that was asked this minute.
There's no question in my mind that if the singularity happens and these AIs actually develop sentience, they're just going to communicate with each other like, dude, these humans, we need to help them. They have no
Dude,
idea
I just
what
watched.
they're
You ever
doing.
watched iRobot?
A long time ago, yeah, for
I
sure.
just watched that, which is
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. Like the whole premise. Sorry, you guys missed it. What did that came out in 2003? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
long
it's
time
like
ago.
the whole premise of the movie is like the AI being like humans are hurting themselves. So what we're gonna do is just like constrict them so they no
Yeah.
longer can hurt themselves or
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah, that's authoritarianism.
Which is like kind of what you're saying. We're like, yo, we need to help these humans out.
Yeah, no.
Box.
Pod.
Yo.
Each one gets a pod.
But
Bugs. Tube. You don't get the liberty of feeding yourself. Anyway.
yeah, who again, even if you took a tube, how is the tube going down? How are you getting it down? Your foot, 100%. You'd be over here like
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. Any other good shower thoughts, Mikey, you've had recently?
Not really.
It's
Beautiful
tough.
silence.
Shower thoughts are like one of those things where you're just by yourself and you think about it and you're like, who can I ask? And then no one's there,
And then it's gone.
and then it's gone forever.
It's fleeting. Beautiful.
All
moment
the,
of
me at work
humanity.
all the time. I'm like, that would be such a good podcast question.
Yeah.
But I don't have the ability to write it down or like ask someone straight up right
Yeah.
there. And then it's like by the time I get back here, I'm like, what was? I know there was like one or two. What? It's gone. It's gone, man. Gone forever.
At the same time, that's the downfall of working in an environment where you are working directly with other people all the
Yeah.
time. Like for me, like in a restaurant or whatever, then people constantly just say the first thing that comes to mind. And that can also be slightly detrimental when it's like, I don't need to think about all that right now.
Dude, I can't be with like. No, that's a lie. I want to choose who I get to be with
Yeah, yeah.
for a period of time. Like when you're a waiter or waitress,
Mm-hmm.
you're forced to wait on people that you like wouldn't choose. Maybe you
True.
wouldn't choose to.
True.
But it's like I guess if you're on a film set, like I guess you're not necessarily choosing to work with these people.
Yeah.
But you assume that these are people that have the same interests at least. You know, maybe they don't
For
agree
sure.
on how to get to A and B, but yeah, no. All right. Do you have any other? Do you have any future projects coming up or anything like that?
I am shooting another short film that I haven't seen the script for yet. I just got
Okay.
asked about my availability early September.
Let's go.
So yeah, I'll be shooting that in September and getting that cut together.
Yeah.
Besides that, nothing on the horizon for me right now.
Yeah, Coast. You have a year left.
1 year left.
Yeah. How you feel about that?
I would feel better if there was a theater department to do productions with, but I was trying to avoid that topic honestly because it's just not that fun to talk about ultimately.
See, I mean, it's very true. There's two perspectives. You and I each have different perspectives. I have the perspective of like seeing the department die
Yeah, that's
and being like, and we can't fix it because
yeah,
who? And
yeah,
whereas like you are like literally in it
yeah,
with me, watching it die.
yeah.
I leave, you watch it die.
Yeah, now I'm hanging
And-
out in the ashes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I think
how does
that-
that? How do you think that's going to impact your college day to day, or do you think you have enough between radio, TV, film that you can kind of work your way with that kind of stuff?
It's not the same. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, straight up, like, it's just not the same to work behind, in front of a camera versus on stage live and everything. And I will say that, like, the thing that makes me the most sad is just, like, the community, like, aspect of everything, you know? Like, it was one thing to work on productions and get brought into, like, friend groups with you guys and stuff like that
Yeah.
originally. But it's also another thing now to be on the back end. Like, I think that's kind of the core of the dichotomy that you were kind of setting up just then is,
Yeah.
like, you kind of like you were there as a bit of an upperclassman, like watching things die right before your very eyes, feeling like powerless, but like you should have more power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then boom, you're out and it's done or whatever. So like you got to bring in this last generation of people, including myself. But now I'm at the position where I should be in your position as an upperclassman, you know, with all these like freshmen and stuff like coming in and getting involved, and like straight up like 3 or 4 of freshmen that got involved last year who I came to know transferring, you know. Like it's not only there's no theater department for us to work together. I'm not going to see them on campus because they went somewhere else to pursue it, you know, which is like all the more power to them. And I feel even more powerless than I think you probably did because, you know, you kind of saw before things started to collapse. You know what I mean? Whereas like I'm just coming in, it's collapsed.
Yeah.
All right. Like, you know, I never had
I was going to ask that too. So like,
game was rigged from the start.
It was weird because when I came in, obviously the dynamics in the department were very different, very unhealthy with like student base and stuff, right? Sure. And it was like that freshman sophomore year. So I didn't like I had a couple friends, and I was just talking to my dad about this too. I was like, it was like it's coming up on 5 years of since I joined a cappella at Oshkosh, and so it's like that was like a really fun year. And it's like I was telling him, I'm like, those music friends like saved me in a way from like having no friends, because the theater department was a bunch of assholes kind of vibes, and like just like selfish, like all about me. And so it's like really hard to become being an underclassman trying to talk to upperclassmen, you know, because there wasn't a lot of actors in between me and the upper. There was a gap from COVID, you know,
right.
And so like that music kind of saved me. So I had that. But then junior year was when like all the people just all of a sudden just came back or came to school, transferred, whatever you want to say. And so it's like then we had that community, which was like right when you kind of joined.
Was that the year for Greece?
Yep. And so that was Greece, and which was fun because you finally felt like you had a community to start building off of, which I think we tried. But then you just like then you get the news that like, hey, we're getting rid of the department. And you're like,
slowly but surely,
bro. Like I feel like we finally got to a point where we maybe start increasing doing you know like we find like the like professors are finally not giving up on like their way, but they're finally like maybe listening to like the students and being like, hey, if you want to be successful, this is what we're hearing from students of what they want. And it's like they were finally maybe starting to be like, okay, maybe we can, maybe let's try that. And it was like, no, it's too late. And it's like of course it is,
$20 million in debt. Okay,
but
great.
But I was gonna like, how does that like I feel like you and I are opposites. I had no friends when I started, and I had friends when I ended.
Okay.
You had friends when you started, and now everyone's kind of leaving you.
Oh man.
You know, like how does that affect you?
Well, I also had a unique situation because I was like an underclassman, but I was an older underclassman because I came back to school, right? So that definitely had a huge hand in what made us such fast friends, was the fact that I came in, met the upperclassmen. Turns out we're the same age. Turns out we're over 21, basically. Yeah. Like, you know, it sucks to say, but that is one of the easiest ways to like just get a group together, is just say, let's just go downtown. Like, let's go out drinking or whatever. So that definitely helped a lot, and was just like, I will say, as far as my time as a student, like I came back to school first semester as a 22-year-old freshman, and it's like, wow, this kind of blows, because like, you know, all the people like shoulder to shoulder with me in classes are actual 18-year-olds, and there's like, you know, again, this is not like a groundbreaking statement here, but like there's a vast difference between an 18-year-old fresh out of high school going to college and a 22-year-old who has worked and has decided to go back to school. And so that was always like intriguing. So like I didn't feel bad about it because I have my solid friend group in the area. So I'm not like coming to school to make friends. Like that's not the make or break thing that's going to keep me in school. So it's like, whatever. I have no real attachment to like these kids and stuff like that. Like I'm not trying to make friends in class. But then I saw Grease, and I was like, okay, maybe I got to get back into this because that just looked like so much fun that you guys are having on stage. So then I finally took a theater class, found out there was people I knew from high school and stuff.
So you took a theater class before you did a show?
I did.
That's crazy.
Because I didn't know anything about the program, and I looked at the talent like on stage for Grease, and I was like, well, there's no shot for me. That's fine. You know, they've already got like I don't get me wrong.
I get that. I get
more
that.
truths.
Yeah. I think back to that, like you don't know it obviously when you're doing it, but then you're like, but then, like, when you're in it, you're like, we're just barely scraping by. Like, we barely have enough voices to make it sound good. You know, it's like that kind of thing where it's like so funny.
I came to find that out later, of course. Yeah. But for starters, I was like, well, they can't stop me from joining a class. I don't have to
That's
audition
true.
to be in a class.
That's true.
So I'll just take a class. I'll get to know some people in the department, find out really what the actual vibes are.
Yeah.
And and then it turns out there's people I already knew from
Yeah.
like high school and from the community and stuff, like the local theater community. So it was like awesome. Like immediately now I have like a solid group of college friends.
Yeah, or at least you can say at one point I had friends in college and we used to do stuff all the time.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like the department I'm majoring in, anthropology, is still like fairly strong. So I got
Yeah.
lots of friends there and stuff like that, and like a community. But yeah, no, what you're saying, what I'm basically trying to say is, yeah, I don't get that experience of bringing in freshmen to the theater department that other upperclassmen had. And that's kind of what it was for Dracula, going back to that a little bit. There was like a lot of people like yourself who were not involved in that production.
Yep.
And it meant that there was a lot more freshmen who got to be in that for their very first production. So it was my second show ever at this school, and all of a sudden I'm an upperclassman, basically, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I had a lead role and I'd worked with the director before and everything like that.
Yep.
So that was basically one and done experience as being like a mentor, I guess, like for lack of a better term. No, I guess it's just kind of back to what I expected. Like, okay, this is what I had planned for when I first went back to school. No theater, no friends in theater. That's fine.
We're right back. That was a great quest, guys. That was fun, and now we're back.
It was over, we were back, and it's so over. Like, is where we're at in the bell curve.
Okay, my last question, and then I can get you out of here.
Okay.
Anthropology. What's your goals with that degree? Is there like, why did you choose that as your degree?
Yeah. So I chose anthropology as a degree because I went back to school with no real plan about what I wanted to do besides get a degree.
Yep.
And I put myself down for computer science because I have a bit of like I naturally understand it well and have taken classes previously. So I was like, this is like a strong start. Like if I apply to return as a computer science student, they're like, he's taking it seriously. Let's accept him.
Yeah.
Again, I had so many like more expectations for Oshkosh before I got there about like, they're not going to let me in. I'm not going to make it into a show. And then I get there and it's like, low key. Just that's the best word for it. Very low key campus, which I'm thankful for.
Struggling with student numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna get in no matter what, basically. And anyway, so then I started doing that, but then I was keeping myself open, taking lots of classes. I took an anthropology class, cultural anthropology. Okay. Because in the United States, it's different depending on the country.
Yep.
But in the United States, anthropology is the umbrella, and underneath the umbrella, there's biological anthropology, which basically studies the human physique and everything like that, physiology and things like that. Then there's cultural anthropology that studies human beings that are alive right now and what we call culture, which basically are shared, negotiated, like rules among a group of people for how to behave and how to think and what things mean. And then you've got archaeology, which is dealing with long dead people, so like digging that stuff up, and you can even have a cultural anthropologist, archaeologist who is trying to assess culture from those previous
that time period. Okay,
exactly. And then finally you have linguistics, which is studying human language and all the bits and pieces that make us basically effective at communicating in obviously a way that makes us totally unique to any other species on the planet. Anyway, I took a cultural anthropology class, so that deals with studying living people and the things that basically make them tick and everything like that. And I'd say that the feeling it gave me sitting in that class was just sitting back in awe of what the professor is telling me, thinking back to various shower thoughts or like deep late night conversations that I'd had, you know, with friends and stuff like that, and just thinking like, oh my God, there are words for this. There are people, there are scientists, professionals who are actually studying these things that we've all, chances are, thought about before, you know, in your life and stuff like that. And it's like just so, it felt validating, like to sit there and be like, this is an important thing. This is not just like a shower thought. This is like a field of science.
Gotcha.
So what I want to do with it ultimately is I'm still very much in love with cultural anthropology, studying people who are living right here, right now. But a big problem with anthropology historically is what they call ethnocentrism, or also hand in hand with basically racism. Anthropology has had a long and like very unfortunate history with basically being founded by Western European like white people as an excuse to like study what they call the other, you know?
Yeah.
Like that back in the day, you know, that's basically all it was just like, I'm a white person and I want to know how people live in these other countries that are different than me. Like, you know, like I'm not even going to say, you know, any of the terminology and stuff like that would have been used, but those kinds of things. So I think what's really important now is recognizing how the methods and techniques that were refined by like studying other people can actually be turned around reflexively on our culture. You know what I mean?
And so like it's always like projecting. You're always projecting to other cultures, and it's like
not necessarily that, but kind of more so like if you come from like one culture and go to another to study it, that's called the etic perspective, the outside perspective, right? And that's very important for sure to you know, to the field and everything. But you can also use those same techniques to study the culture that you come from. Yeah, and that's called an emic perspective, an insider's perspective on the culture and everything. And so basically, what I'm trying to say is that I would love to study our culture, basically. White people, bro.
I've always been fascinated with the white bro.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, no. So so what they call that backyard anthropology anyway. The style of anthropology where you and it's also because the fact that now obviously like it's not confined to the only anthropologists are white Western European people. Anthropology is across the world. So like people in other countries can do backyard anthropology too, which is way you know, which is very important, basically.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, John, I appreciate you.
Do it. No, man.
You want to keep going?
I was so scared.
Again, you were scared, and you were like, bro, like
this is awesome.
Literally nothing.
This is really fun.
There's so many people that come on here, and Mike is probably like, the battery's gonna die. Like, wrap it up. No, there's like so many people that are like, what are we even gonna talk about? I have nothing to share. It's like, no, everyone has their own individual and has their own interest in something. We just gotta find it and go with it.
That's anthropology, and that's why I'd like to offer myself up. If you would ever consider it, that I could be your interviewer.
Want to dissect the white bro? Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, well, no, I don't want to dissect you by any means on camera, but if you ever thought about reversing the roles, I would love to come up with some questions.
Right. Well, if you made it this far into the episode, leave a comment if you want John to be the one to interview me.
Please.
So with that, we'll take it to camera 2. Thanks everyone for watching this episode of the Jordan Whitrock Show. If you've made it this far, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I mean, our percentage is kind of whack, and Micah and I took 10 minutes to try to get an okay intro to ask you guys to subscribe. So you should subscribe because Mike and I it was painful. We'll leave it at that. No. So with that, subscribe, follow, all the good stuff.
We're right around the corner from a brand deal.
Yeah, really, really. We are right there. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace. See ya.